Welcome to the Navigating Your Life show. Tonight we're going to concentrate on urban youth. Recently I had an opportunity to visit with some groups that are working with youngsters in Camden, New Jersey. So let's now watch what happened during that visit. So we're here in Camden, and we want to thank Martha Chavis for allowing us to visit here at her site. So why don't we have the panel introduce themselves. We'll start with you first, Martha, as our host.
Martha Chavis. I run an organization called Welcome New Jersey, which stands for Workforce Education and Life Career Opportunities, mentoring you to excel. And I'm the CEO and president of the organization.
Wonderful. And we're really lucky to have two angels, all right, joining our panel today. So Mr. Alamo, would you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Angel Alamo. I'm the chairman of the Mentoring and Leadership Committee for the Camden Mayor's Youth Council.
And next, please.
I'm Angela Osorio. I'm actually the Community Justice Director for the Camden County Prosecutor's Office.
So we're going to start our conversation today looking at some of the challenges that are facing Camden. And so again, starting with you, Martha, if you had to say, what are some of the challenges? And then we're going to take some time in our later segment to talk about the triumphs and accomplishments of Camden and primarily of its youth. But what would you say are some of the challenges facing the youth of Camden?
The challenges facing our youth in Camden today are mainly those that are facing other urban areas, even rural areas throughout the country. And they include getting an education, include having cultural and recreational exposure as they triumph towards adulthood, and also dealing with crime issues, safety issues that they face every day, sometimes to the level that people in previous generations have not had to face.
Okay, and Angel, what would you say are some of the challenges facing Camden as you serve on the Mayor's Youth Focus Committee? What are you seeing there as being some of the challenges?
What I'm seeing there, some of the challenges are basically getting the youth involved into their education. We have a high school dropout rate. And I grew up in Camden all of my life. And 20 years ago, I heard in the classroom, 50% of you are not going to graduate high school. And for those of you that go on to college, 50% of you are going to drop out. Wow. And I thought then that the numbers would get better, and the numbers are actually the same. So I think that the challenge is us making a better commitment to the youth of getting them involved in their education, applying for scholarships, that sort of situation. But I was at a community center where I'm starting a mentoring program. And I seen a lot of the high school kids. One of them mentioned that he doesn't have somebody in the home. One of them mentioned, what if I want to become a doctor? What do I do? And I basically came in and I told them, you can do whatever you want as long as you put your mind to it. As long as you get your education, that's always going to open doors. So it could be something as simple as you being there for a child and telling them that they can actually do it, because a lot of it is when they're 4 or 5 years old, you ask them what they want to be. They think big. They're like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. Then when they get to, let's say, middle school, that's when, again, sometimes life has taken its toll on them. Some of these kids, they grow up without families. Some of them grow up on the streets. We don't want to face that reality, but that is the reality. So we have to be there for them. And I think what it takes is one community saying, let's put aside our differences, let's put aside our egos, let's work together as one for the sake of one thing. These children, how are we going to save them? It's a lot of work, but we're actually going to get there.
Okay.
That's what I can say about
We'll come back to that optimism that you have in a minute, but we'll go on to the other angel, Ms. Osorio.
Yes, I have a unique perspective because I see what happens on the other end. In my office, I do something that's a lot different than anybody else in law enforcement, and that is to work on crime prevention. And the challenges that I see actually begin in the home with families that are dealing socioeconomically with, the loss of jobs, poverty, and so forth, and oftentimes that parents that are young or grandparents that are rearing children, and it makes it very, very difficult, and they face their own unique challenges. And that is, number one, that they don't have a mentor or a supervisor in their lives or an individual that's really a role model they need to have. And secondly, that their expectations are very low. I mean, I have really never seen anything like it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that they really don't feel, there's a feeling of hopelessness.
Now, you both angels, Ms. Osorio, Mr. Alamo, both talked about the education of children. What do you think needs to be done there to overcome the challenge that of the high dropout rate?
If we engage them very early on, we have a LEAP Academy that is pretty much, it's a school that's run, goes from K to 12th grade, and it's run by Rutgers University. Oftentimes Rutgers University actually works with those students very early on in preparing them and telling them that they should have very, very high expectations, that it's expected that they'll go to school and they'll go to college and that they'll be just as successful as anybody else. And so that we had our first Ivy League graduate, or our first individual, I should say, that graduated from LEAP Academy a couple years ago that went to Brown University. So those are some of the examples. If we start very, very early on telling our children that anything is possible, because I've seen so many that have come through some of the programs that I do in my office. Actually, one high school student that came to me one day that she said that she saw an application for one of my programs sitting on her guidance counselor's desk. And she said to her, I would love to apply for that. The Camden County Prosecutor's Office is exposing the people to career opportunities and all of these things. And the guidance counselor said, oh, well, forget about that. You're lucky if you get out of here.
And goes back to what Angel was saying, that if you're being taught or lectured in school that you have a 50% chance of failure, and then if you are successful, there's a 50% chance that you're going to fail even more, even when you move on to higher education. I guess those words need to be retooled so that people feel a sense of inspiration when they're going through that educational model that's supposed to prepare them for the future. And Angel and Martha, what are your thoughts about the challenges that are faced in the educational system, and more importantly, what are your thoughts about some of the solutions there?
Well, from my perspective, I deal with intervention programs. Our after-school programs and activities, and even our cooperation and partnership with other entities around the city, in particular the prosecutor's office, where we worked on an anti-graffiti project where my youth worked in putting 3 murals up throughout the city. I have found that engaging our young people in community service, especially those that are at the high school level, gives them an opportunity to be exposed and see what else they can do with their lives, even though they may not have been encouraged beforehand. When they get an opportunity to be in the workforce, they like the sense and the feeling of being dependable, reliable, picking up skills, learning new things, and realizing that this is what I want to look forward to in becoming a productive, contributing adult in our society. It's easier to raise a child than it is to fix an adult, as you constantly hear all the time, but I also rather fix an adult than lose one. So I'm in for intervention of programs as well.
Do you have a community event or a special person you'd love to spread the word about? How does reaching a potential audience of 2 million viewers sound? Announce a conference, festival, fundraiser, special event, or even nominate someone in your community who's making a difference. Send us the information to include in our weekly community spotlight to the email listed below before space runs out. All events must take place between mid-September and mid-December.
I'm Malachi and I'm 9 years old. Hi, I'm Jay and I am 12 years old.
I'm Trayvon and I want a dad that can play ball with me. I'm Jeffrey and I want parents to love me forever.
These are just 4 of hundreds of children in the Delaware Valley who are waiting for families to adopt them. You don't have to be rich to adopt. You don't have to be married or even own your own home. You just have to have room in your heart to adopt a waiting child.
We want a family where we can stay together.
Remember, there are no unwanted children, just unfound families.
I want parents that can love me forever.
I want parents who will love me forever. I want parents who love me forever. I want parents that can love me forever.
You can make a difference in the way a child grows up. For more information, call the National Adoption Center, 215-735-9988, or go to the center's website at adopt.org. There's a child out there who's waiting for you.
Explore Dr. Nat Williams' Absolutes of Success book series featuring The Navigator of Life, The Mature 64, Living Life 8x8, management and leadership by the 3 Ps, the affordability factor, the 4 Cs of change, embracing your real life, and the Absolutes of Success series workbook, maximizing your greatest potential to achieve your personal best. All books available at drnatwilliams.com or amazon.com.
So now we're going to start hearing from our audience about their thoughts on the accomplishments of Camden's youth. So here we go.
Prior to working with Coming to Hope, I worked with a program where we taught kids math. But we taught college level algebra to 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders by just asking questions. And my experience is that the kids rose to the challenge. So you just have to challenge the youngsters, raise that expectation, and they will raise to your expectation. That's been my experience, and that's what we're trying to do at Hope Community Outreach Center. And when we work with we want them to touch professionals. The University of Medicine and Dentistry in New Jersey each year send a team of students out to our community center so they can touch doctors, they can touch dentists, they can touch nurses. So that's we like to see the glass as half full versus half empty.
It seems like when the kids turn 14, parental participation is pretty much alienated. It's not existent no more. It's becoming a catastrophe. I mean, the kids, like Angel mentioned, kids very high hopes at the age of very, very young. From 4 have very high hopes of becoming anything else. But as soon as they get to 14, 13, and it seems like life has taken such an incredible toll. The challenges currently is incredible. It's too much. It's enormous. We need the participation, and I think sports do an incredible job in doing that. If you notice the Boys and Girls Scouts, the reason why there's a tremendous amount of success in this areas, it's mentorship, it's parental participation, it's just somebody being there. Some of us taking some time.
Some of the youth that I see, specifically the challenges with them, I work with a special population, the LGBTQ community, which is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning youth of color here in Camden. I think there is a lack of resources for those youth, considering the fact that they have the highest rates of infections as well as suicide and depression. I think providing accurate resources and the ability for them to feel that they aren't second-class citizens and giving them the skills and the tools so they can have the ability to be something and not feel like they're less. So just providing accurate resources and safe spaces within schools, within youth serving agencies, to give them the opportunity to have the self-efficacy to do the things that they want to do.
There's in the cities, there's a lot of people or kids that don't have anybody at home to be with them and mentor or show them positive things in life. And also, as me being a mother of 3 children, I think love is definitely a very important thing in the family and friends, wherever they can get it. I think that starts there for them to know that someone cares and that they're an important person and they can do anything. So
I chair the subcommittee on multicultural affairs, and we have more than 12 subcommittees in various areas: leisure, recreational, sports, science. And Mr. Alamo has recently joined our multicultural in the area of mentorship leadership. One of the goals that he's planning on reaching, and I'm supporting him, and the Mayor's Youth Council supporting him, is to have the youth that are going to be involved in all of our activities for the year to meet President Obama July, the second Friday in July. We've already planned that for next year. And I think that that's going to be an incentive. In Camden, we have an amazing thing going on. We have over 400 nonprofits. And one of the things that we're working on as the Mayor's Youth Council is to get those programs and those nonprofits working together to strive for a single goal, and that is to strengthen Camden. But we do need to collaborate more and more. And I found that there has been a tremendous amount of success because we have been able to bring these nonprofits together and to work to support.
With the Girl Scouts, I can speak to the accomplishments of the Girl Scouts in Camden City, and I'm very proud to say that we have registered over 400 girls for the program. Of course, I also like to just say that Girl Scouts has been moving at the speed of girls, is what we like to say, because they're rapidly changing and we are steadfastly trying to keep up with them. So with that said, with 400 girls registered this past Girl Scout year, 2009-2010, we've had a very successful year in programming. We have been able to take trips, expose them, and give them access, which is one of the things that I think is a huge accomplishment, just allowing them the access to be exposed to things that they would not otherwise be exposed to.
I recently just moved back from Philadelphia, which the schools out there is not really good, and ever since I started day school, it made me look a different way and reaching, you know, and want to finish school. And because I was a kid that didn't care about going to school, didn't bother to even show up, you know, cut school. And ever since I've been there, they showed that they care about us and they want us to be successful. And I wasn't comfortable in the big classrooms that was in Philadelphia, and this school had like small groups, and it helps me better to concentrate, you know, less distractions, and I'm just like really happy that I'm going to that school.
My name is Sabrina Jones, and I'm with the Rainbow Children of Hope. We go to like the Ronald McDonald House, and we sing to children that are like, they say like that's in the hospital and things. We go to the to the food bank and help them give out food. And this every school year we have a back to school block party, and we had our 8th annual one on September 4th. We give out uniforms and book bags, and we put 80 kids in uniforms and book bags.
What I would like to say is that I feel like Camden's children have just as much of a chance as the children in the suburban areas. Children can only do what you allow them to do. I believe in giving the child the challenge, giving them the instruments that they need in life, they can go to the top. It's no such thing as because one child is one color, one child is another color, that they cannot exceed. I don't believe that. They can be anything they want to be. We need to stop downing the kids because they're in Camden. Camden has put out some very positive things throughout the years, and they can continue doing it by us being positive role and letting them know that they can be anything they want to be. All they got to do is put their minds to it.
We want to thank our audience members for sharing their comments. We're now going to take a quick commercial break, so please stay with us. We'll be coming back and talking about the accomplishments of youth here in Camden.
Do you want to achieve your personal best? Then join Dr. Nat Williams for the Absolutes of Success series Attaining Your Personal Best workshop in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
On October 9th, 23rd, and November 13th.
Workshop highlights include a better understanding of challenging life events, life's least common denominators, reframing, and developing a solid plan for the future. Register today, only $50, which includes the Absolutes of Success series workbook. See you there.
At Bridge to Creative Learning and Child Care Center, your child will learn and play the creative way in a safe and secure environment. We offer a fun and caring educational base and much more. Call us at 610-351-7400. Prepare your child for a brighter future.
We're back now with our panel. We're going to continue our conversation about now the accomplishments of some of the youth in Camden. So why don't we start with you, Ms. Osario. What have you seen from the prosecutor's office of some of the good things that have happened, and possibly through your intervention when things were going bad, but how have you seen that been turned around? And some of our audience members mentioned some of the things that you were involved in to get them to see the police and the judicial system from a different light early on. But talk about some of the good things that are going on here in Camden.
There's fantastic things. Of those that graduate, there's quite a few that go on to college. We have good sports teams in all of our high schools. We have a creative arts high school that has tremendous artistic expression in dance and theater and so forth. In our office, we do a community justice program every year with 15 high school students in the summer. It's a 5-week program where they go through the entire criminal justice system. So they start at the police academy and they end with a mock trial before a presiding judge and in a real courtroom. And you cannot believe how fantastic those students do. And we follow the students and we make sure if they need help once they leave all of our programs that we provide them with any extra support in applying to college and the like. We provide a mentorship, so in each and every program that we do, we make sure that we have some kind of spirituality, one-on-one encouragement with everybody that comes through our doors. And we have very, very high expectations. The students that come into our program, they might not be perfect students, they might not have perfect attendance, they might be C- students, they might be struggling. Oftentimes I try to pick those that are on the fence. But in each and every program I try to make sure that it's not simply a program where we might go to a soccer field and kick a ball. I want to make sure that there's some kind of a follow through, that there's an adult, an individual that's there to provide the child with the kind of support that they need to be successful.
And Angel, what are you seeing as some of the accomplishments from your standpoint as part of the Youth Council?
Well, from my standpoint from the Camden Mayor's Youth Council is that we have to get them, again, to think big. If they want to be a school teacher, encourage them to do so, and also have them take responsibility and pride in their work. One case in point is I have a vice principal at Kramer School. On my last day of school in 4th grade, he told me to remember the word responsibility. So we need teachers to teach these kind of things: responsibility, morals, caring, giving back to your community. All of these values were taught to me, and I think that those that are still living in the community that had those taught, we all have a responsibility to come back and give back to the community. I've actually reached out to classmates that have actually graduated from Camden High School and Woodrow Wilson and some of the other high schools, and I've told them, let's come back to where we came from. Let's give back. Let's do something that's positive. Instead of having a class reunion, let's have our class reunion and make it about giving back, about mentoring. So it's good for them to see us, people that came from Camden, because that kind of makes them feel like the sky's the limit of what they can do. Sure. They can just say, look, you know, he went to Camden High School and he went on and did this, or he went to Wilson, or he went to a Pineport or Morgan Village and he went on to do this. So that kind of gives them hope, because a lot of the youth, their mental model is, they look around them and they say, wow, you know, this is all there is, you know, this is how I'm going to end up. Because growing up in Camden, your goal is always to leave. And that was my goal, but I had a mentor that taught me, stay in your community and give back.
Wow. One of the things that I've heard several people mention this today is that we're just like any other place. And on the ride down here, my colleague and I were going through some data, and you know, one of the things I was looking at is that infamous murder rate. You know, it looked like it was 4 times the national average in 2009. So there are some things that set you apart. Is it a healthy thing, do you believe, Martha, to see yourself just like every other place so that you're able to have the strength to go forth? Or is it better to see that there are some things that make Camden different, and there are some special needs and some special resources that need to come into Camden in order to solve the challenge?
I think my best answer to that question is to have it both ways. We do represent many of those same issues, concerns, and problems, but as you pointed out, it's sometimes triple the rate, because we are a city of only 79,000 people. A large portion of that population are youth, almost 50% under the age of 25, and then we have a significant elderly population over the age of 65. That's what gives us our uniqueness as well, because it tells us that we are a city that has this challenge of making sure we have stability and productivity, people that grew up here, stay here, and work here. And for that, we need other resources to enable us to do so. But we have a lot of work to do in Camden. All cities can say that, small or large, but in particular, my focus is to make sure that the workforce opportunities are there, especially once they've learned the basics with responsibility and accountability, hard work in terms of what gets you ahead.
Wonderful. We're going to get ready to wrap up, and I want to give you, as a member of our panel, a chance to share your thoughts. So why don't we start with you, Martha, with some of your closing comments on today's show.
In particular, I want to emphasize the important of that network, making sure that we have those raised expectations and those opportunities for our youth in the area of both recreation, cultural activities, and last but not least, to do as much as we can in terms of prevention and early intervention around crime issues, and make sure that our streets and our homes, as well as our neighborhoods, are safe for all of us.
Wonderful. Thanks, Martha. Mr. Alamo, please, your closing thoughts.
My closing comments is we're headed in the right direction. But as adults, we have to be strong for our youth. We have to be there for them. We have to educate them. And we have to encourage them to think big. Never tell a child that they can't do anything. That's the worst thing that you can really do to a child. Like I said, growing up, my mother always told me, you can do it as long as it's positive.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Alamo. And Ms. Osorio, your closing thoughts.
I just want everybody to keep in mind there's a common thread here that we've all seen and we've talked about the low expectations. We need to think about that every day. And the other thing that we need to think about, when you referenced some of the statistics that we're facing in this city, particularly crime-wise, that if we are able to prevent crime, if we're able to actually look at our children and invest in them, they're our greatest commodity today. We will not have some of the problems that we have.
We want to thank everyone that joined us in Camden, New Jersey for our conversation on urban youth. We believe your candor and insights offered a great value. Next week's topic is going to be advances in medicine and dentistry, so please take the time to join us then. Thanks for watching tonight.
A list of resources related to today's show is available on our website, which is navigatingyourlifeshow.com. On this site, there is a connection to our Facebook and Twitter pages and to our blog. While you are there, you can also email your comments on today's show or share ideas for future shows.